It's April 1st, 2025, in a quiet suburb of Massachusetts. A homeowner walks to the mailbox and pulls out a standard white envelope from National Grid. He expects a winter heating spike, a bill that reflects months of freezing temperatures and high energy costs. He slides a letter opener through the paper and unfolds the statement to find the balance due. The total is $0. At first, it looks like a clerical hallucination or a cruel April Fool's prank. But as the morning unfolds, it becomes clear this isn't an isolated glitch. Across the state, 35,000 households are opening their mail to find the exact same thing. In the local news, they're calling it a big break on their bill. National Grid is a multi-billion-dollar utility giant, a monopoly typically known for aggressive rate hikes and strict collections. They manage a complex, high-tech infrastructure designed for total precision and automated oversight. But that system has just been paralyzed by a very mundane, very human mistake. Company executives are eventually forced to issue a public admission. This wasn't a secret green energy rebate or a state-mandated tax holiday. They officially described the incident as an administrative snafu. A simple manual data entry error has accidentally wiped out the revenue records for tens of thousands of customers. It is a rare moment where a corporate oversight actually benefits the public. But it also exposes a systemic vulnerability in the systems we rely on for survival. While 35,000 people celebrate their free electricity, the physical grid is starting to show signs of a much deeper, more dangerous decay. Here is how a few mislabeled cells in a spreadsheet can bring a massive utility provider to its knees. In their corporate literature, the focus is always on modernization and the smart grid. The promise is one of total precision through automated utility management systems. Digital meters track consumption down to the second, feeding data into centralized servers without the need for a human meter reader. On the surface, this creates a frictionless machine for revenue collection. National Grid is typically known for its rigid, automated billing cycles. If you fall behind, the algorithm notices, and the shutoff notice is generated instantly. But the reality of our critical infrastructure is often much less sophisticated than the UI of a customer portal. Behind the sterile corporate headquarters, the public utility system is a patchwork of legacy software and manual oversight. To bridge the gap between physical usage and a digital billing statement, employees must still interact with the data. It involves complex spreadsheets, manual data entry, and the verification of thousands of account records. This is the hidden friction in the age of automation. We are told these systems are infallible because they are digital, but the entire apparatus still relies on the mundane clerical competence of people working behind desks. When that competence slips, the result is what the industry calls an administrative error status. In Massachusetts, 35,000 people are about to find out how thin that layer of automation really is. Inside National Grid's billing department, the automated systems are functioning exactly as programmed. The software isn't crashing, and the servers aren't failing. Instead, they are dutifully processing 35,000 account reductions as if they were deliberate corporate policy. The date is April 1st, 2025. Behind the scenes, the automated utility management system has reached a bottleneck that requires a human touch. An operator is manually updating customer records, moving data across a massive spreadsheet to sync legacy accounts with the new grid. It is a mundane task, the kind of clerical work that powers a multi-billion-dollar monopoly. But somewhere between the raw data and the final billing statement, a manual entry error occurs. A few mislabeled cells or a misplaced decimal point essentially wipes the debt from the ledger. The system doesn't see a winter heating spike, it sees a balance of zero. The billing cycle triggers, and the high-speed printers at the distribution center begin to hum. 35,000 statements are folded, stuffed into standard National Grid envelopes, and loaded onto mail trucks. By the time the accounting department notices the massive revenue hole, the letters are already in the suburbs. An internal memo is drafted to explain how a titan of industry lost track of its own money. They don't blame a cyber attack or a hardware failure. They use a very specific, almost casual phrase, administrative snafu. It's the official technical term for a clerical accident that accidentally gives the public a big break on their bill. The administrative error status is verified across tens of thousands of accounts. The high-tech smart grid was perfectly blind to the mistake because the data, however wrong, was entered by a human hand. It is the moment the image of total infrastructure precision is replaced replaced by the reality of a manual data entry error. While National Grid scrambles to reclaim its lost revenue, the rest of the regional utility system is starting to fracture. In Waterbury, Connecticut, the crisis is far more visceral than a spreadsheet error. Taps run dry. The city enters a 6-day outage, leaving thousands without a drop of running water. The Waterbury Water Department is forced into emergency repairs on pipes that haven't seen a technician in decades. At the same time, the digital heart of South Dakota stops beating. A 2-day IT blackout causes total state-level operational paralysis. When officials finally find the cause, it isn't a sophisticated hack or a server crash. It's mislabeled wires. A human hand put a tag on the wrong cable, and the entire state's digital infrastructure went dark. This pattern of systemic malfunctions eventually reaches the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. They convene a formal inquiry to blast PG&E for a string of December outages. They are no longer looking at individual glitches. They are looking at a public utility system in total decline. Even the cloud providers aren't immune to the administrative rot. An Amazon Web Services outage leaves New York residents locked out of their own digital lives. The erosion of public trust is now as measurable as a power surge. The big break on their bill in Massachusetts wasn't a gift. It was a symptom. National Grid might eventually fix the billing data and send out the corrected statements, but an administrative snafu in the ledger is usually followed by a physical collapse in the street. If they can't manage the data, they can't manage the world. The big break for those 35,000 households doesn't last. National Grid eventually clears the administrative error status and mails out the corrected statements. The $0 balances vanish, replaced by the debt they actually owe for the winter. In San Francisco, city supervisors proceed with a formal inquiry to blast PG&E for the December outages. They are demanding a full report on the systemic malfunctions that left residents in the dark. In South Dakota, technicians are still moving through IT facilities with label makers. They are re-verifying every mislabeled wire to prevent another total state-level paralysis. And in a quiet home in Waterbury, the emergency repairs are finally finished. A resident reaches for the kitchen faucet and twists the knob. The pipes groan and rattle as the air is pushed through the system. A few brown metallic drops hit the bottom of the sink. Then the water finally runs clear. The 6-day outage is over, but the sound of the dry pipes remains.